Hi guys, it's Tiny Tom Logan back with another video for you. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Noctua NH-L12 L-type low profile cooler. Now it comes with 190 and a 92mm, sorry 190. Comes with a 120 and a 92mm fan, and you can run both or just one at a time, it doesn't really matter. It's got some quite funky features, in fact that we've got mini ITX mounting plate that you don't have to use the back plate on the back of in case you've got really limited room. Comes with Noctua NH-L12 thermal compound. Basically with the extra fan added on the top, because there's two, it's 93mm, but without the fan and you just run the one underneath, it's only 66mm. Now that's not really going to mean a lot to you at the moment, so we'll just undo the box quickly and I'll take the cooler out. But basically it comes with two fans. Well, we don't need that. So it's 93mm up to the top of the upper fan, and then it's only 66mm up to the top of the heatsink if you just use the fan underneath. So you've got the 120 at the top, which is actually one of the awesome air penetrator Noctuas, the NFF12s, and you've got one of the 92mm fans underneath. So you can run both if you want, or you can just run one or the other. I can hear people already saying to me, can you fit the 120mm fan underneath? So I'm going to find out for you now, because even I don't know. So we will have a look. And the answer would be no, you can't. Because of the clips. We'll try it. No, I'm not able to get it in underneath. So, oh, hang on a minute. It's just squeezed in, but it's tighter than a nun's what's-its. I don't know. You may be able to get it screwed in. I know it's not designed for the 120, but it's at least screwed over the top. Sorry, it's at least gone over the top, but I don't think it would be, unless you're really tight on space. I think if you're tight on space, you may have problems with other parts around the motherboard, like your MOSFET heat sinks and stuff like that. So I think for the most part, we'd say no, it doesn't fit, but you may be able to get away with it. But the best way to find out would be to test it on your own application, basically. So we've got the heatsink itself. It's actually quite dainty. Compared to some of the Noctua coolers, we're used to them being massive, quite chunky. This is actually pretty dainty. Obviously comes with a pair of fans, so we'll put that to one side. What else does it come with? So we'll just open the box. I'm quite a fan of Noctua stuff, to be honest with you, because they send you everything. So essentially now, I mean, we've got a screwdriver straight away. There's an AMD bracket set. We've got the normal Intel bracket set, which will do 775, 1156, 1155 and 1366. And looking at the screws in there, it has actually got screws for 2011 as well. I'm just looking to see in the if it's got support written for 2011 down. Yeah, it does actually say on the box there is support for LGA 2011. I did see the screws in the box. I'm not sure how well it would perform on 2011, but nevertheless it's there. And also, unlike some of the other ones, you don't have to use the back plate on this. You can just use this second set of screws that will poke through, and then you mount that to the board instead. So that's great for the HTPC users. In the this is the box really. This is kind of shows you the difference with Noctua, because in here it's just loads of stuff. So we've got thermal paste. Bearing in mind that the fans are PWM, so it's the 4 pins. You've got a PWM splitter, so it goes from 1 to 2. Then we've got a PWM extension cable. And then we've also got 2 separate PWM fan reducer cables, depending on how fast you want the fan to spin. And what I normally do with my Noctua stuff is quite literally set it up and then forget about it. Get to a point where I'm happy with a mixture of noise and performance, and then I just leave it and forget about it. I generally don't have them running off the motherboard or anything. and my current 2011 rig is absolutely silent with an FF12s at the moment. But what we're going to do now is I'm just going to get this mount fitted to the board. We're all pretty sure how it goes, but we'll get the mount fitted to the board and then I'll show you how to screw the actual unit to the board. For those that have never fitted the Noctua brackets before, it is really simple. You just find the slots in the back that you need and you push the little pins through into place. Now on the back plate it says 775, which is the inside. The middle one is 1156, which obviously is also 1155, and then the outside one is 1366, which is also 2011. But actually, unless you remove the back plate on the 2011, you don't actually need to use it. But that's just me getting a little bit complicated. But literally all you need to do is slide that through, and we stand this up. And like I said, this is just for those of you out there that have never done this, but the Noctua is so simple and works so well. It's one of the reasons why I really, really like this mounting mechanism, because it's just, like I said, it's just so basic and so secure. It works really, really well. Now essentially what you do is you get these all screwed right up tight. You can do them up tight enough with your hands, to be honest with you. You don't need the screws at this point. Now I could put the thermal paste on, but I'll just show you now. Essentially what you can do is mount the cooler, and obviously you can mount the cooler whatever way around you want, and if you want to change the orientation of the cooler, you don't want it to go a certain way, you can unscrew the mounts again and basically just turn these round, because where it's square, it will fit on the opposite way, so we can just move it round. And obviously you just screw them all back up again, and then you can fit the cooler that way round, should you wish. And all you do is you use the long screwdriver. Once it's on, screw down through and just screw it into place. It's really, really very, very simple. Right then peeps, slightly different testing program this time. Basically I'm using OCCT. Now when I do, kick the tripod, I do apologise. When I do like custom builds and stuff, I actually flick between OCCT in the Lin pack mode with 90% free memory being used, because you can see up here we've got 8 GB in the system, and you can see that it's loaded up. It's using 7,236 megabyte of the RAM. And what I do is I use this and Prime, because on some systems this will fail and Prime will be fine, and on other systems it can be the opposite way around. So I always use the two, but it doesn't really matter. If you find it's stable in one of them, then you generally, under normal use, you won't ever find any problems. But anyway, so we've been running, as you can see here, we've actually got a clock. So you can see how long the system's been loaded for. This means I'm going to have to be very careful in future when I do this, that I either don't do it too long or I don't do it too little. So, but anyway, essentially we have everything that we can possibly need, because we've got the temperatures here, which you can see are flipping around between 40 and 41. You can also see the CPU, the minimum and maximum value. Since we started it, you can see maximum, that minimum, I think we pretty much started it instantly and flicked it on. But you can see that the lowest memory that we've used, you can see the core temperatures, min, max, and the actual value at the moment. So the maximum values that we've had have been 42 and 43. You can see all the voltages as well. You can see the fact that it's just an i3 2120 at 3.3, and the fact that there's no overclock or anything on there. Everything that we need to know is in this window, and you can also see it being, you know, still running as well. So it's brilliant. So at the moment we've got the 120mm fan fitted, and it's on full speed, and obviously we've got the i3 2120 in there at stock. But so that we've got something to compare with, what I'm now going to do is put a 2500K in this system, just to show you the kind of temperatures that you could get with a 2500K at stock. So I'm going to make myself busy with that, and I will be back with you shortly. So moving on to the 2500K at stock. As you can see down here, it's at stock 3.3, but it is doing the normal turboing up to 3.7 gigahertz. Don't forget, it's the voltage that really matters, not the actual core speed. But with V-Core is at it's on auto, but it's running at 1.1, 1.12 at the moment for the turbo speed of 3.7 gigahertz. So as you can see, all the details are here as before. Just want to show you this. I've got to show it up in front of the screen because I didn't want to move the camera. The temperature you need to be looking at is 18.7 degrees. That is the internal room temperature. That looked a bit dark because the camera's all set up for the screen. But anyway, if you have a look down here, maximum values 42, 41, 45, 44. It gives us an average temperature across all four cores of 43 degrees. If you take away the 18.7 degrees ambient temperature, that gives us a 24.3 degrees delta temperature. Now I'm actually really surprised how well this is running and the temperatures that we're getting. So something that I didn't think I was going to be doing in this review, but I'm going to do it now anyway, is I'm going to give this a moderate overclock, and we're going to come back and check the temperatures again. So come back soon, or rather you'll be back soon. I'm going to go away now, change the settings on this and see what I can get within temperatures that I think are any good. So yeah, be back shortly. Right then peeps, moving on to the overclock settings. I've actually put, you can see everything's here. If you have a look down here, basically that's the value, the minimum and the maximum. I've actually put in the BIOS 1.25 volts through the CPU, but this is, we've got a little bit of load line calibration there, so you can see it has gone up to 1.31 volts. So we'll say 1.3 volts are the ones that we're going to be using as like for the test. 4.4 gigahertz, 100 times 44. You can see that it's using all the memory, or 90% of the memory, 100% CPU load, although you will get a brief dip every now and then. Now this has been running, again you can see up here, for an hour and 55 minutes because I've been doing other things, I've had some lunch, I completely forgot that it was running. And we've got 54, 55, 58, 56 as maximum temperatures on the core, which gives us an average temperature of just 55.75 degrees. Bearing in mind this is meant to be a HTPC cooler, and we've got a 2500K in there, overclocked to 4.4 gigahertz. If I show you the ambient temperature, it was 18.5 degrees when I took my result. So if you take that away from it, you get a 37.25 degrees delta temperature. I'm actually massively surprised by this. By the way, if you're wondering what the spike is here, it's just when it's going into different parts of the test, which is why you get differences in the value temperatures to the maximum temperatures. But you can see it will slowly go back up again now. So yeah, just a 37.25 degrees ambient temperature, but I mean the hottest core that we've seen has been 58 degrees, and we've just got that single 120mm fan on there. It's not in the silent mode, but it's far from loud either. I'm very impressed by this, very impressed. So we're going to leave this here. Sadly I've not got time to be able to chuck a 2700K in there, but you'll be able to get, you know, the basic gist of it from this. So it's there's only one thing left to do now, and let's move on to a conclusion. Right then peeps, on to the conclusion, and congratulations, you made it this far. Now I'm going to state the award as I normally do at the beginning, and then I'll explain why as we go through. Yes, I'm in a slightly different location tonight. Now, award gold, and I want to explain why. And I'll be honest straight out the box in that I wasn't expecting a lot from this cooler. The Noctua kind of face down coolers in the past, one of the original one with one fan I actually quite liked. It wasn't too bad. It would keep an i7 at stock relatively well. The one that they did with two fans, I found shaped loads and I kept getting problems with my motherboard because of it. And then they ended up releasing a brace for it to stop the resonance. So with this, I wasn't really expecting great things, and I was trying to engineer the review to kind of show it off to its best, rather than doing it with how we do our normal reviews with a 950 and everything like that, which would have, especially once we started overclocking it, would have really made this cooler struggle. So I tried to do the review in the ways that it would kind of the way it's designed, really, isn't that? And that would be for like a HTPC rig. So I thought I'll do the i3. We'll do some rough temperatures in the case. I was intending on doing both fans with the i3, and I thought that'll be good enough. So just kind of a quick look kind of thing. But I was really surprised with the temp. So I thought, when we did it, I thought it was a bit too good. So I thought to myself, right, okay, I'll chuck the 2500K in. We'll do a quick result with the 2500K at stock. We'll have those results, and then we'll call that it. But the 2500K was 43 degrees average, and then once you took the delta off, it was a 24.3 degree delta. Sorry, once you took the ambient off, it was 24.3 degrees delta. And I thought to myself, that again, I'm really surprised that's a bit too good. So I thought, right, okay, I'll give it a crack. Put 1.25 volts in the BIOS. By the time the load line calibration had kind of notched it up a bit, it was like going from 1.28 up to 1.28 up to 1.3. So we'll call it a 1.3 volt. So we got that 4.4 gigahertz, which is a fairly healthy overclock for a 2500K. I'm sure a lot of people out there would be more than happy to have their processor running at that. Anyway, with those settings, we had a 55.75 degrees average and then a 37.25 degrees delta temperature. So again, I was thinking to myself, this is really good. I'm very massively surprised with this. Now, I didn't test the 2700K on it. And there is a side of me that wish I did, but I don't want to start testing coolers with umpteen different processors, because it will mean everyone will want every processor tested, and then it'll be people saying, AMD, can you do this? So I thought I'll just do the two and we'll leave it there. With the 2600K, they are a little bit hotter, but not a massive amount hotter. It's only really when you start pushing the overclocks where you see a difference. This will happily keep a 2600K around the 4 to 4.4 gigahertz mark, and you'll probably get temperatures around the 60, 65 absolute top end, depending on the airflow of your case. So just to give you that as a ballpark figure. Also only tested with a 120mm fan at 12 volts, and it's not loud at that. But should you want to use the fan speed reducer, from what I've seen, it'll add between 2 to 5 degrees extra temperature to your results, basically, depending again on the airflow of your case. If you've got as we did with this case, where we've got a rear exhaust and there's another fan in the roof as well, really favours the design. So yeah, some of you may say to me, why didn't you test the 92mm fan? If you need a case that low profile, you're talking HTPC case in my eyes, and I mean quite a small HTPC case as well. And I don't really see that you're going to have a massive CPU or any kind of overclocks on that type of system anyway, especially with that limited amount of space. So it's not really too much of a problem for you. You'll be able to take what we got from this. As for running them both together, with those results, I don't think you'd ever need to the point that I would say, in my eyes, that if I bought this, I wouldn't use that 92mm at all. I've actually taken it off altogether, and that was how I would suggest you run it, unless you need a low profile, really low profile, cooler, and then you run that underneath. But as far as this is concerned, I mean, looking towards the back of the case in the R3, the cooler doesn't even come out to the middle of the exhaust fan. It's amazingly low profile. We didn't get any problems with our Corsair Vengeance low profile, and I don't think, well, you won't get any problems once you get it over the top. You won't get any problems with the likes of G-Skill Ripjaw Z or Ripjaw X, Mushkin Redline Ridgeback, Mushkin Redline with the stiletto heatsink. All the kind of normal ones that will fit with the NH-D14 will fit with this. Although I'm pretty sure that Noctua will have a RAM list on this. It'll only be like the bigger heat sinks, like the Kingston T1 and the original full size Vengeance, that you're going to start to get an issue with, and you don't really need those big heat sinks anyway. So my thoughts on the cooler are, I'm mightily impressed, and that's why I give it a gold award. Looking at prices online, there doesn't seem to be anything in stores in the UK yet, but from the hints that I've seen along, it looks like it's going to be coming in around the kind of £45 to £50 mark, which I think is brilliant. I would happily pay that for this cooler. Obviously, it's got the bomb-proof Noctua mount on it anyway, which is just idiot-proof and lasts forever and a day, because I've still got my very first original NH-D14 is still in the cupboard and still going, and I used that thing for like well over a year on every bench rig that I touched, and the mount is still fine, the D14 is still fine, so you won't have a problem with this at all. So the long and short of it is, I'm more than impressed with this, which is why I gave it a gold award. I wasn't expecting much. It surprised me. The fact that the fins actually on it are so small and it still performed this well is absolutely brilliant. So if you're looking for an i3, it will run cool as chips, no matter what fan you use. 2500K at stock, doesn't matter what fan you use, it will run lovely. You can even get to the point of being able to overclock your 2500K with reasonable volts as well. I would say, you know, up to 1.3, maybe even up to 1.35, you could get away with. Same with the 2600K. You may have to keep the volts down a little bit lower, but it'll just be a case of, you know, you testing it in your rig to see how you can get on with it and how far you want to push your overclocks with the temps. But as far as temperatures are concerned, just to give you a ballpark figure, because people always end up asking, although they'll never watch to the end of the video and find it out anyway. I would say as long as you keep it around the 70 to 75 mark, full load with something like Prime or OCCT that we use in the videos now, as long as you keep it around that, then you'll be fine. Just bear in mind that once the summer gets here, it's going to warm up a fair bit. But other than that, it's awesome. I love it. And I honestly didn't think I'd love it this much. To the point now where I was considering using a passive cooler on the server. I honestly think I'm going to keep this in there now. And I mean keep this in there now, because this is my home server. It's a video that I will be finishing off soon. But this is it, complete now. And many of you are going to say the power supply is the wrong way up, but it's because it's passive. So the cold air can still come in the bottom, where it's passive, rather than it just filtering out the top. It's actually now set to go out the back, but I will explain that in another video. But yeah, I love it. I honestly do, and I can't explain why. So if you're looking to make a low power system, or maybe something that you're restricted on space, I honestly think this should be high on your list, if not top of your list of possible cooler options. And don't start talking to me about the fan colour, because I love it. What you've got to bear in mind with these is, if you see these fans in any case, you know they're Noctua. Also, if people look at your case and they see one of these fans, they know you've paid good money for them as well, because they're not the cheapest things on the planet. In a white case, I think they work lovely, and as you can see, I've got Noctua throughout in this rig. And it all does kind of tie in quite nicely together. But this is Tiny Tom Logan with the Noctua NH-L12. I did get that right. The NH-L12. I suppose you'd call it HTPC, or low profile cooler. Gold award winning cooler as well. Yeah, this is Tiny Tom Logan with another video for you. Out.